Tonight on If the Kids Are United.
I was having fun to the point where I was down for anything. No one was talking to me. No one was answering my calls. I have nothing.
If the kids are united, they would never be divided. If the kids are united, they would never be divided.
5th of February, 2019, local time 6:49 p.m., local weather 58 degrees. That doesn't sound right, but it's hot outside in New York City. Tonight my guest is Butterfly. Butterfly is an actor, musician, and actual bullet dodger who I met through mutual friends last May. At the time, Butterfly was going through a brutal split with a manager that involved losing tens and thousands of dollars and leaving home for Hollywood with nothing but a duffel bag full of clothes. Starring on a major network series and getting on the radar of the biggest names in music was the tip of the iceberg in Butterfly's story. Also, Butterfly is one of my favorite people on the planet to talk to. If we all knew what Butterfly knew at the cusp of 20, we'd probably be able to survive through anything too. Butterfly was kind enough to share bits and pieces of their story with me, and I believe every kid who wants to work professionally in the entertainment business should take a page out of this book. Can you tell me a little bit about your first professional experience in the entertainment industry?
In high school, I booked a show, and it basically was like a drama, and it was super shitty and super corny, and like, it did awful, but that was the first time I had gotten out of high school, and, you know, almost like 9 to 5, went on set and had my own trailer, and it was kind of like a super big deal for me, because it was like the only way I was able to go to college, and because before the show, I didn't really have money to go. It was either like community college or like figure it out. And then when I booked that show, I literally used all that money to go to school. And I think just being on set and going to the trailer and like seeing myself on a network show, I was like, yo, holy shit, I could fucking do this, you know? Even if it was only 3 episodes or 2 episodes, it was like, I'm at least the doors cracked a little bit open, you know?
So when you were younger, I guess it's interesting to think about young people and adults communicating on a professional basis, because the way that many people see it, adults, quote unquote, speak to adults, and kids, quote unquote, speak to kids. So your experience with talking to people who are twice your age when you were really young is really evolved for some who's. So what I want to know is, did you find people in the entertainment industry trustworthy?
No and yes. It was like, this was, you know, a big issue, but like, I felt like I was good at seeing what people were made of and seeing how real and how fake, you know? And, you know, unfortunately, I got in a situation where I thought I trusted people way more because I just believed in it and I saw it, and I think they hyped it up for me to see it so that I would never question the fakeness of it, you know? But there were moments, in any moment I felt like, yo, I super trust you, is when moments it was like a legit job. Like, I'm on a network show. For example, like this new network show I'm on, it was like everyone there is so trustworthy because it's like the real deal. There's no time for fake. There's no time for like scam.
Describe what that environment's like.
I would say surrounding yourself around people who are maybe 10 plus years in. They have a way that they move. I can usually tell if someone's trustworthy by the way that they just move around and day to day. I know it sounds so weird. Kind of a vague word, like move around, but you know, that can mean anything from just how they communicate, how they go about their day-to-day business, like how they take initiative, when do they take initiative, what causes them to get stressed or anxious, you know? I just pay attention to certain things, and if I can see what stresses you out and what gives you anxiety, and if it's like good anxiety and stress, then I know that you're able to take on what you are able to take on. I know it's kind of like a confusing, you know, corny thing to say, but, you know, how you communicate is vital.
Can you give me an example of somebody communicating well?
It's day to day. It's It's nonstop. It's a full-time job. I'm talking like business to artist, like just the way that I need to work and that I can trust someone is just communication. If you can communicate with me all day, and I know that's like difficult, but I'm saying like in a high business level, think about it like so two people working in an office, they're fucking hitting each other's offices every day, am I right? Or like stopping by their cubicles and like finishing an assignment or a project. So if you're, let's say for an example, my label A&R, or you're someone high up who's working on my project or pushing me up, I want to be able to communicate with you all day. If I need to call you and let stress down, I'm going to call you and then you're going to hit me back and we're going to keep moving forward, you know? So in my old situation, there was no communication and it literally drove me to hell because with no communication becomes like a cloud and no one knows anything, you know? And everything's kind of just thrown up in the air and that's literally what breaks you down.
All right, I got you. So obviously there was some communication going on. I really want to know, like, what was that communication like exactly? What was said to you? What information was revealed or withheld from you? How do you feel like you were being manipulated in the way that you were not or currently are not being manipulated in your situation on a network show?
So you're saying, looking at my current?
Looking at your past situation, how did people talk to you? What was their tone like? What information did they give or not give to you that you felt kept you trapped or in a gray area where you couldn't express yourself, it stifled you creatively, and led to other problems professionally and financially? How were you being talked to?
Now I'm in a situation where I'm around legit people. So I'm just going to kind of break it down by like, look at this network show that I'm on. It's like I go to set every day. I have a personal assistant. I have someone who reads lines with me. I have someone who transports me to set. I have like network people I do conference calls with. And then I have like the agency calling me. And then I'm on set with the director. And then I'm doing table reads. So there's always somebody communicating and somebody believing in me. Like, the way that people communicate to me and the way that they look at me, it's like, they don't give a fuck if I'm only on 4 episodes, dude. They look at me as if I'm the fucking main role. You know what I'm saying? And that, to me alone, only makes me work harder and also give more of my energy and more of my trust when you give that trust to me, you know? And then comparing that with, like, my old situation, it was like, no one was talking to me. No one was answering my calls. If I caught them in person, it was like denial. Like if I try to, you know, express how I feel about something and express that something's not right or something's not working, it was like denial. No, you're the crazy one. You're the one that's tweaking, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's really because of them. So that's why when I'm on this network show, if I'm like, hey, something's not right here, it's like, hey, you might be right. Let's really look into it. You know what I'm saying? That's the difference between legitimate people and fucking floppy people.
All right, bet. So I want to like rewind a little bit. There are a lot of kids who are trying to get into the music industry. My question is, initially, you met people who assured you that they had your best interests in mind and that you were going to sign with them and that they were going to make it easier on you to get your voice heard. Tell me about how you met them. What was the initial experience like? How did it all come about?
You know, okay. So, and I'm going to keep it 100 with you. In the beginning when I started out, and you can hear me, right? It's raining pretty loud.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. When I initially started out, I did not give a fuck. I literally didn't know who anyone was. I had no sense of what this person had done. And I was really in it initially because I was having fun. And even if I didn't 1,000% believe in myself, yo, I was having fun to the point where I was down for anything. I was taking risks I was going to studios, working all hours of the night, didn't even know what my sound was, but I did not care. I wasn't paying attention to other artists. I wasn't like scrolling on Instagram like, hey, this guy's making this type of music, you know? But when I started to make a couple of records, I started to get tossed around certain people who, quote unquote, were doing things. So I only knew little of like, okay, who was involved with this person's upbringing or this famous person. And now I was in this situation where people were like, yo, you're affiliated with so-and-so, like this person's kind of a big deal. Or you're moving around with this person, like that's really fucking lit, you know? And next thing you know, I ended up going to LA and Miami on this trip with some pretty legit music industry guys who were like fucking working with, you know, have been very involved. And, you know, I told myself, because everyone was coming up to me like, yo, I heard this person's working with you. Like, how do you, like, that's crazy. How did that happen? And I'm just like, I don't know. And honestly, I'm just trying to have fun and be myself. And if these people see something in me, then, you know, let's fucking go. Long story short, once I started to move around with people who are already a foot in the industry, if not more, it made other people spiral in them. And now they're like, yo, I know about this fucking kid because of so-and-so. What's his deal, you know? Or what's the situation? And the music industry is a fucking bubble. And even if kids are trying to get in it and they feel like they're not, or that they know so many, like I get down on myself, it's like, fuck, I have all these people watching me, all these labels watching me. And sometimes you lose sight of that. It's nothing for someone to go on your page and not like or comment, but still pay attention to what you do, you know? God knows who's fucking watching over our page. Me and you could have anybody. You could have Mariah Carey. You could have Beyonce looking at your page for inspiration for all we know. So, with that being said, I think us kids starting music have a lot more power than we really think we have. Like, as much as we might say, like, I'm still an up-and-coming artist, no one's really, like, blogs aren't posting about my music, that doesn't mean shit. We can have anybody interact with us at any moment of the day, at any hour. And going back to kind of your question, it was like, how did I get myself in that situation? I mean, I couldn't even put an answer to that. It was almost like a joke in the beginning, dude. Like, literally, it was a joke. It was like, oh, you're doing music? Like, like, let's see what you can do. Let's have fun, you know? And then one thing led to another. I'm in fucking New York, fucking at and like meeting all these fucking people. And I'm like, how the fuck did I get here? Like, you know what I'm saying? I had no music out. I was only working on this newer stuff, but the people I was affiliated with, you know, at the time, very legit and kind of vouching for me, you know? Long story short, it was a fucking mess and a shit show, and they were in it to just fuck me over. But that's the music industry. Like, I go into it with everybody, like anyone at a high corporate level affiliated somehow with that, you know, isn't really in it because they love you. And that's just something you have to understand. And another thing about that is someone else that was a part of my situation was seen as someone who maybe, you know, gets people deals and leaves. But my mentality, because I was so fucking over the industry, I said, you know what, if they're looking at me as a bag or an opportunity to get money, let's go fucking get this bag together then, you know? That was my mindset. I was almost like heartless, where I didn't even care about myself.
So tell me a little bit about where that started to go wrong. Where did it start to get sketchy?
If you're signed to a, like, okay, so it's kind of confusing. I was signed to a studio that was looking to get a venture capital through a major label. So they were basically, we had major labels trying to sign the entire studio, right? That was my first sign. I said, oh, okay, I'm in the studio working on records. I have a manager and all these producers, but they're in it to get the whole studio a deal instead of let's build you an empire. You know, that was my first sign. I was like, okay, so it's not all about me, which, you know, nothing is in this industry. But at the same time, it was like a little thrown off because it was like this whole time it was, we're in this together. We're going to build a team. We're going to fucking do this. Like, it was very like we. And it shifted over to the label owner's interest of like I. And then I started to kind of get a sense of like, okay, all right, like I could do that. Like that's cool. We still have something to work with. And then as soon as I saw them sign other artists, when they couldn't even break me yet, was a huge first. Something's weird here. How are you going to sign other artists when you can barely manage to push out one? Because there was always this excuse. Always, you gotta stay working. You gotta stay working. You're not ready yet. You're not ready yet. You're not ready yet. You're not ready yet. Now is not your time. Now is not your time. I said, when is the time? I believe in patience, dude. Like, I believe in fucking working hard, developing. But I had been developed for a year, dude. A year. A full year of being told, soon. Now is not your time. Now is not your time. And eventually I hit a point and I said, when is the time? Because everything I'm making is coming out right now. Literally. I would hear things on the radio and I'd be like, how did they make this? Did they hear my song? That's how delusional I was, because everyone in my ear is telling me, you're not good enough. You can't sing. You can't write. You can't make beats. You don't know how to do shit. Now's not your time. And I put myself so fucking down. So I started to believe everything everybody told me. So I have my own label, calling my manager, who's the only person who really believes in me. Tell him he's just a look. He's just a personality. He needs to be more friendly. He's not involved in the scene. I'm telling you, dude, like, it was fucking psycho. Psycho. Because these people had never seen me out, and they have no fucking idea who knew me and who didn't. It's frustrating because anytime they saw me out and saw the light, like people bringing the light to me and like loving and showing support, they've been in such denial about me that they didn't want to believe it. That was another really big factor for me. Because of all of that, I started to hate myself and not believe in myself. So I was like, fuck, maybe I am all of these things, you know? Maybe I'm weird and no one likes me and I suck. And that's when everything started to shift, because mentally that threw me so down. And there was a lot of really fucked up instances that I can't even fucking go into, bro. Like, I literally can't even go into. But all I have to say is, if you're signed to a label and you're on a label trip to a festival that your whole label and investors are down there with you, and everyone is ghosting you and you're sleeping in a fucking parking lot overnight because they're not fucking answering their phone for you, it tells you something about somebody, you know?
No doubt.
And that was the final straw. It was like, call the lawyers, let's fucking, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's go.
So basically, you just have a $sign on your forehead and a bullseye on your back. You felt like you had bestowed trust in people who didn't honor their commitment to you, and that you ended up sleeping in a parking lot.
And the best part is flying back, sitting them down and being like, hey, what was that all about?
What was their answer?
Denial. That sentence alone, what are you talking about? Literally was like the green light for heaven. I felt so relieved because I'm like, holy shit, I'm not fucking crazy. These people are literally fucking psycho.
And when you're carrying around that weight, where you feel like all of this sudden these triggers go off, and you say to yourself, okay, I'm going to go down this road. It's an unfamiliar piece of territory, and I haven't been here before, but I do have my gut instincts. And I know how to talk to people because you had been on television, you had been around people and treated like an adult. So all of the sudden you're in this situation where you're like, wait, I have gone far enough down this road to know that every single feeling that I have in my body right now is telling me that this isn't right. When you get there, legally speaking, what goes into getting yourself out of that situation?
Being in that relationship is like being in an abusive relationship, right? You get punched every single night. your partner is beating you up, but you're still going back to the same bed. All your friends and people around you are saying, get out, get out, get out, get out, right? But you're so fucked up in the head because of this abuse that you can't leave that bed. But you want to, and you know you have to, and you know you're going to. So for me, oh my God, I have to commit to getting out of this. I packed a duffel bag. I fucking booked me a ticket to LA. I slept on this floor for 3.5 months while getting out of that deal. And every day I had to wake up and tell myself, I'm committed to getting out of this. I'm going to get out of this. Like, we're getting out of this.
Yeah.
And there was many times where I was like, bro, fuck this, bro. I'm literally, like, I'm done. Whether that's, like, I'm done with life or I'm done with the music. I just was, like, so exhausted, bro. It literally brought me so fucking low because I lost everything. Like, I'm sleeping on the floor. I have no clothes. I have no music. I have no content. I have lost all my relationships. It was, like, almost therapeutic. I have nothing. So anything I get is something. That was my mentality going forward. Anybody, anything I have, any song I do, it's something. And I started to appreciate every little thing. And fast forward, that built up to me finally feeling comfortable in LA, working on a fucking EP myself, knocking out videos myself, dealing with my creative direction myself, networking with myself. You know what I'm saying? I still have labels calling, and that's all dealt with us. Like, it's only a 2-man group who dealt with all of it.
I want to ask you about that. How did you meet your manager? The way that he moved that got you to be like, okay, this guy's for real.
It was like the song I released, and it was getting buzz and people were kind of hating on it, and they also loved it. It was like this weird in between. I had gone out to LA because my best friend was in Malibu at the time. And I literally dropped the song. I flew to LA. At the time, I wasn't even stressed about dropping a song, so I had no idea really what I was doing. This was before I got into that situation, so they had reached out like, hey, we really fuck with you. So I was kind of feeling excited and this new hope. At the time, my homie was doing PR for me. He manages, and was like, hey, I have someone in LA that I thought super fucked with you. I think it'd be a great look. You should link up with him. I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. What do I have to lose? I link up with Santa Monica. Off the bat, we just start talking about everything. And he literally starts off by saying, listen, like, when I see something that I really believe in, I fucking believe in it. And I believe in you so much, and I want to manage you, but I have no experience in music, so I don't want to do you wrong. And I said, hey, man, don't worry. I kind of got a situation going right now, so, I'm a little strapped up, but maybe down the road we can work. That night, we went to a dinner he took me to before my flight and literally treated me as if I was like a god. And I had never really been treated like that by somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Like, the homie's not taking me to like a 5-star restaurant and telling me order anything and having conversations with me about where I see myself and how much they believe in me. Like, no one has told me that. So it was the first time I was like, wow, this is someone who, like, believes in me more than myself. And I flew home. Long story short, this clothing brand, they started booking shows and stuff, and I'd gotten hit up, like, hey, we're throwing a show in New York, and we want to throw you on there. It's a good look. We're already selling you tickets. I said, for sure, just book my ticket. I'll come. I flew to New York by myself. Did this show. It was pretty much sold out. And I was so fucking ecstatic. And, after I got off set, I had a crowd of people follow me outside. It was like this place a venue in Brooklyn that was super fucking rad. And I was like talking to all these kids who were like, yo, I super fuck with you. What's your information? And I literally took the train at like 3:30 in the morning back to the hotel, and like, it was just like a spiritual journey,
Was the brand his brand that you were doing the
It was like a clothing brand. And, he kept booking me, and he would call me occasionally. And then eventually, it became this conversation, like, I want to be a part of your situation.
Yeah.
And I said, okay. And this is a man who fucking believed in me more than anyone else. I didn't even see that yet. So he got involved in this situation. And of course he was frustrated with me with the lack of communication and the fucking weird shit going on. But he stuck by my side every day when he could have just left. And that shows me commitment. Yes, he didn't have as many resources and connections as a normal music manager does. But I don't care about that. All I care about is if you fucking believe in me, that's all it takes. You know what I'm saying? Like, someone who's willing to fight and do anything for you and get you out of a fucking label deal alone proves to me that you deserve every fucking penny of mine, you know?
100%.
And a lot of people are like, oh, you know, blah, 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 he doesn't know many people, like, you should get a power manager. And I said, listen, don't get me wrong, that'll come. You know, there will be some situation where eventually when I'm on a platform we'll have to deal with shit. But I'm going to be dealing with all of that because he's my day one. And that's just really what it is. Like, we've been through hell and fucking back. And it's like, at this rate, we're too deep to even think about, like, going back, you know?
What I kind of want to touch on, because you've mentioned it a few times loosely, is that when you meet people who promise you they can do X, Y, and Z for you, what sort of checklist should you have mentally to make sure that they're telling you the truth? And then sub-question, when is it enough? What's the breaking point?
That's tough because, to be honest with you, I don't even think I figured that out yet. Like, I'm kind of just starting that list, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Because, you know, with everything that I went through, it was like a huge lesson learned, and I started to be like, okay, I can see through certain people, you know? But as far as a list and just keeping it 1,000 with you, like, I haven't really finished that process or come close to finishing that because I feel like even though things with a TV show, I might have started that list of like, okay, this is kind of like the beginning of what it takes for someone to, you know, gain my trust. It's not because I want to answer that and genuinely it's just something more for myself that I need to continue to find.
In regards to that situation or any creative situation where trust issues, exchange of goods and services, what does a healthy relationship in that regard look like to you?
In a healthy relationship, back to what I was saying earlier, is there's nonstop communication. And there's also, it sounds weird saying this, but belief. Belief works stronger than any other emotion. Like, if you have fear and doubt, that's a big emotion, you know? But when you have two people who literally believe in something so much as you might go through up and down roller coasters, at the end of the day, you always have that belief. So to make a healthy, trustworthy relationship, if that belief is always there, both of you are going to find ways to build over that fear and doubt. And eventually, it's going to be an extremely trustworthy situation because you've been through both the down and up. And in the end, you're still believing in yourself. And it's like, that's kind of what my situation is. It's trustworthy. There's nothing to hide. Because, like, we went through that messy stage. And if we made it through that, it's like, there's literally nothing that can bring me back down. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
Someone could delete all my shit. And I'd be like, okay, back to square one, you know? It sucks because I'm like, fuck, I gotta fucking clean shit up. But, bro, I'm telling you, like, going through that old situation literally made me prepared for almost anything, you know?
What you had mentioned before is that people kept your material and you literally, from what it sounds like, and right now you're in a situation where you're making music and you're putting it right out. You're the master of your own destiny. So do you feel like these people who tell you to wait, and I had gone through a similar situation where you're sort of aggrandizing this moment that's supposed to be your moment, all eyes are on you, the world turns around when you make something dope. I personally don't believe that that's facts anymore. I believe that thing of the past, and I think generationally, a lot of the miscommunication that exists between the music industry people and the artists themselves is that the artists are actually out there on the ground floor observing and taking in what's going on in a modern climate, and other people who have experience in the past, which is tough because right now, I don't want to say it doesn't count for a lot, but what it counts for doesn't exist anymore. So it's almost arbitrary in a modern climate. If somebody is in this situation now, and they are in control of their own destiny, I want to talk about the importance of how they can get their message out there and what goes into that. Do you believe that now is a good time for the music industry?
I feel like now is like the renaissance of true artistry. Something about right now feels more right than ever. I feel like the topics of labels and the topics of who's a joke and who's not, who's a marketing scheme and who's not, has become a little more clear to people. And like, I can go online right now, scroll on my board page and see which artists are like a marketing scheme. I can just see the things they do in the videos and the photos that are like, okay, you're doing this because you want it to catch a viral, rather than like, hey, you're making fucking A quality music, you know? And that's why I feel like right now is a great fucking time, because a lot of that marketing label, music industry talk is kind of dying down. I saw this Kid Cudi quote where like, right now is kind of a weird time, like, and also it's amazing because like, you know, the label culture sucks, but at the end of the day, like, if you continue to keep making A quality music, that's the reason why people are gonna look at you like you're the GOAT or you're the truth, you know? And I have to keep reminding myself, like, I'm not going to clap my face up and fucking act all wild on Instagram throwing cash and hoping that I get 100,000 views on my Insta video. I'm not going to do that, and I'm going to just focus on my content and make fucking great records and great videos, and I might not be as poppin' as those people, but fuck, man. Hopefully one day, or, you know, I know this kid's looking at my shit, like, you know, this kid's not as poppin', but he's the fucking truth. And if you have people looking at you, all it takes is one person to say, you're the truth, for the whole world to see it, you know? It's a great time because I don't care about anything else or trying to be something I'm not. Like, I'm being my true self. And that's why it's a fun time in the industry, because I feel like there's a bunch of other kids going through the same shit, you know?
Do you feel like someone's strategy when they're releasing content, when they're releasing music, indicative of their intentions, ultimately, how they release what they release?
It's weird, man. It's like when I see it, I instantly know. There's no sign. Like, if you post something, it's like, that's it, because it's out there. And it's like a feeling of knowing and just, I don't know, like, I would say, you know, if you get toward into the internet scene, they know and who's doing it for what and who's doing it for the other. And, you know, there might be some elements that go into that make me know, but in all honesty, I think it's more of just behavior, and it's weird, like, I can just tell by their behavior online, even though I don't judge anyone online, because they, you know, some people will be like, oh, I thought you were different based on your online. They're like, oh, you're actually funny and, like, nice. And I'm like, yeah, what do you think my fucking online, like, I'm curious, what do you think my online is portraying? They're like, well, I just took you so serious, and, like, so I'm like, wait, am I a joke then? And they're like, no, it's just like, they look at my page and they feel like it's this bigger thing. And then they meet me and I'm like this, like, insecure, like, funny, goofy, quirky kid who's like, I don't really give a fuck about making fun of myself. And in LA, that's like rare. You're making fun of yourself? Like, are you okay? And I'm just like, yeah, like, I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is me. So that's what I'm saying. It's like online culture alone, it's fucked. But it's very clear who's doing what. Like, if I'm flexing guns and throwing cash in my videos and slapping, like, big booties and shit, taking pictures with naked women, I'm doing that for a reason. Because people are going to be like, oh my God, what is this? You know? And I'm not going to lie, I fall into it, like the whole 6ix9ine shit, etc. I'm liking those photos. I'm like, fuck, this is fire. But because I have that, like, grittier side of me, And I also understand marketing, and I know he's a marketing genius.
What advice would you give to somebody who is starting off right now? Step one.
People want to see young people in pressure situations. If you can deal with high pressure situations and fucking come through, you're literally golden. You might not be lit right away. Like, you know, look at myself. I'm still fucking trying to push things and build my brand. But, man, like, I've been in pressure situations, and I know, God forbid, if that day comes again, and when it will come soon, and it's already coming, I'm going to be able to come through and prove to people why I'm next, you know?
Should you care about the product that you're making?
1,000%. And I say that, bro, because if you don't believe in your own product that you're making, what's going to make someone else believe in it? You know? And that was my situation. I didn't really believe in myself, and that's why it was a fucking disaster.
Because you were vulnerable, you allowed things to happen on your behalf that were sketchy as fuck. So let's say I'm 18. I love my music. I love everything that I'm doing. I work super hard at it. How do I get people to pay attention to me in this climate? What do I do?
You've got to take time and study. Like, I spent, in that 3 months when I moved to a big city, didn't have anything, I studied sound, I literally watched I know I sound crazy, but I watched so many old documentaries on artists and bands, like Chucky Madonna, Rolling Stones, you know, that Oasis one is great. I watched old MTV interviews with, like, Blur and Damon. Like, I wanted to see how they did it in a time with no internet. And with that being said, as I started to study other people's careers, everyone's so different, has a different career, I started to pick and pull elements where I could connect and feel like, okay, I have a little bit of this going for me, I have a little bit of this going for me. I was in the same situation as this artist when they were my age, you know? And I hate to compare, because I think comparing is kind of what kills people sometimes, but I wasn't necessarily comparing. I was, like, picking and pulling. And that kind of opened my realm and taught me, like, all right, I need to meet someone who is in this field, because then I'll be able to move to that field, and that'll connect to this. I've looked at everything as like a fucking game. And, dude, like, you know, I'm still not shit. I'm still out here meeting people and trying to get it going, but, like, I'm still studying, man. I'm still watching documentaries and reading about shit and learning about artists kids my age probably don't even fucking know about. And that helps. And I don't know if that's, like, a correct answer to you, but I think that for me personally, that's something that kind of was really important.
One piece of advice that you could give someone right now, the one thing you would tell them to remember.
Remember why you started. That feeling, you know?
Remember why you started.
You gotta look at where you were before everything took off. Pause and look back, like, why you even got into all this shit. You know, in my situation, I started this shit for fun, you know? And, like, I was having a blast. I didn't give a fuck. I didn't know what anything was. And that feeling of free, like, goes a really fucking long way to, like, why, you know, your career takes off. Like, you need to make sure that you put yourself on a platform before anybody else. As much as you have a team, people around you and everything, at the end of the day, it's like, you gotta know why you started, you know?
Trust is weird. Radiance is weird. These things, these elements that shine in us that we're told we should be proud of and share with everyone around us when we're little, sometimes end up being the things that literally spill blood in the water for all the sharks. I'm not saying I don't trust people, but actually what I'm saying is I don't trust people. Trust is earned, not given. Make people earn your trust. Be careful with your heart and your ideas and your fucking bank account information. I mean, I'm most definitely a people person. It's kind of my superpower. But what I'm saying is be careful. Protect yourself. Because your life, your sanity, and your happiness is completely worth it. If you or anyone you know under the age of 25 would like to share their story anonymously with If the Kids Are United, please contact us at whatineedisinformation@gmail.com. Good night.